Hello, everybody. We have Bebop here, the bird, and we're hanging out in the beehive today and just enjoying the day. We just got back from Boracay. We did some blogging, and it's uploading right now to YouTube. So if you want to check out that blog, it is on YouTube. And also, there's a Facebook group, and I have a good friend named Tata. Tata, can you say Tata? Tata. And Tata went ahead and set me up with some of the grouping in Facebook. And I have Bebop. She's going to dance for you. Go ahead, dance for everybody. Come on, pretty girl. She has beautiful, sexy blue eyes. Look at that. I sing that song every night before bed. Blue eyes, baby's got blue eyes. And so anyway, she's got blue eyes. And so anyways, there's some Facebook group I didn't even know existed. And this friend of mine named Tata Romero. And she has a nice son named Samir. Can you say Samir? I can say that one. And so we're here and we're doing a testing on the system because we're going to go live and bring some guests on. Actually, we do a motorcycle show, and we do it like a daily show. But today I had to go do some blogging, so I didn't do the show today. So I'm doing this show. And, oh, very nice. And we're testing it out. We got some new lights in Kalibu yesterday. And actually, this guy, he went ahead and he went ahead and sent me a really nice microphone. Check this out. This is really cool. This is a blue eyes. Baby's got blue eyes. And anyways, this is the microphone. This guy, I'm not going to talk about it, but this person from America, they had this live stream show, and I was using their service, and all of my live streams got destroyed. I mean, it was bad. And so they got really embarrassed, and they said, like, I know you're going to rag on us, and you're going to like make a trouble. And Brian is watching from USA, from California. Hey, Bri. He's at the sprint cars racing. I hope you're having a good. Brian goes to all the sprint car racing. He likes those sprint cars. And when I used to race Speedway over at the Industry Hills, Brian used to come watch me race motorcycles. And we like to ride motorcycles. Oh, the studio looks good. Hey, Brian. And are you watching the race cars now? He's in California watching those race cars. He's a real race car kind of guy. And he's just enjoying the race cars. And he used to watch me race motorcycles when I raced the Speedway motorcycles. Brian Smith I guess he lives in like Lakewood or like Long Beach, California. And hopefully he's going to go ahead and we're going to go to the races sometimes. Yeah, he's watching the race cars. He's always watching the race cars. And that's really cool, Brian. I hope you have fun doing that. Anyone else want to chat? Like I say, we have he's at Long Beach. And we have Scott there from Glendora, California. Scott Weeks. Scott, bro, how are you doing? We got Brian Smith in the Beehive. And we have Scott Weeks in the Beehive. And we're having a good time. We're testing out the system because we have lots of interviews, lots of people that we're going to bring on live stream. And we have Bruce the Fox Penhall. He's the two-time world champion Speedway motorcycle rider. And we have Dennis Segalos. He's going to be coming on. And we have the famous Mike Bass, who hopefully will be coming on. And so we're having some good times. We upgraded our system, and we're testing it out today. It sounds like it's working pretty good. So I just got back from the beach in Boracay. It was a little overcast day today, and it was nice, though, because they have what's called a habagat in Boracay. And for those of you that do not know what a habagat is, it's like where it's windy one side of the island, and then the other side of the island, it's really beautiful. It's like perfect. So it's kind of weird. The island of Boracay is only like a half a mile wide, so it's not really very wide. And then you go to one side, it's like a typhoon, and then you go ahead and the other side, it's like beautiful and it's nice. And Scott Weeks from Glendora, California, he's doing good. Good job, Scott. And Manny, I guess Chris Manchester. Do you know Chris the Kid Manchester? He's like 50 years old. He's not a kid no more. When you're 50, they can never call you the kid. You're like the old man, like Chris the old man Manchester. He's not a kid no more. So don't ever call anyone the kid because they grow old and then you can't call them the kid no more. And so anyways, yeah, Mike Faria, Flying Mike Faria, he's a really amazing speedway motorcycle rider. We want to say amazing because amazing's too easy to say. So we say amazing. That's cool. I like that one. And Bebop likes that one too. And Mike Faria, I guess he wants to do the show. We're going to bring Mike Faria. We call him Flying Mike Faria because he's really a good rider. And Mike Faria, he was started racing like in the mid 70s. And my friend, I have this guy, he's like 80 years old and he's probably watching. His name is Jerry. And he doesn't want me to talk about him. So maybe he lives in Northern California. And Jerry went ahead and actually he introduced Mike Faria to Speedway. He's actually a friend of mine. We talk like every day. And so anyway, so that's kind of what happened. And we want to get Mike Faria on the show. But today we went to Boracay and we went ahead and did a blog on the beach. I actually did a blog on the boat when I went on the boat today. I was the only guy on this boat. I was alone. So I'm like, hey, I'm here by myself. Because every time if I go to Boracay on the boat, usually, not always, but usually I'm the first one on the boat. So I have to wait like a half hour before everyone else gets on the boat. So I'm like, I did my blog today. I'm like, hey, everybody, I'm here alone on the boat going to Boracay. So that was a lot of fun. And I had to take care of some things over there in Boracay and had some fun. I went to the White Beach. The beautiful white beach of Boracay. Do you know the white beach of Boracay? It's nice. So we hung out there. I didn't bring the bird. This is Bebop, by the way. I don't know if you know Bebop. She's kind of a cute little bird. Say hello. She's kind of shy. She doesn't like guys too much. She only likes girls. So she probably knows there's a couple guys watching her. So she's like, oh, I'm going to get out of here. She has beautiful blue eyes. If you look at her eyes, come on, show the blue. Oh, look at those blue eyes. It's so beautiful. So anyways, yeah, so we're here hanging out. And also there's this group on Facebook. So we want to go ahead and thank you so much for welcoming me onto this group. So that's really cool. And we really appreciate that. And actually, I don't know how to connect to the group, but I just went ahead and did a live stream. It's actually a testing of the live stream to make sure it's going to go on YouTube and on Facebook. So we're going to have some fun here and just enjoying the day. And actually, yeah, just hanging out, enjoying the day. And just had lunch just now and had my burger, had my chicken burger and a Mountain Dew to go. No, I didn't have Mountain Dew. I was editing today my blog as I was having lunch, and it's uploading to YouTube right now. So if you want to see that, my YouTube channel has almost 1,200 videos on it. There's a lot of videos on my YouTube channel, and it's really cool. I don't know. I started doing the blogging many years ago with my business. I had a business. I was a contractor in California, and actually, I used YouTube so I could make money, so I could sell jobs and get rich. And that's exactly what I did. So when I was like working in America, I actually used YouTube to like make money. It was for me, because I would do these videos And then I would show the customers exactly how I did my work, because I worked alone and I was like pocketing all the money. I didn't have to share. So that was kind of nice. And then people, by the time they saw me, they knew exactly what I did. So well, I was a YouTube blogger when YouTube first started. Like I was one of the first YouTube bloggers ever. So it was a lot of fun. And I just did it so I could sell my work. I didn't really care about YouTube too much. I was a dirty rat, so that was no good. But I sure made a lot of money with YouTube. And then I started my channel like 4 years ago, and it was pretty cool, just was for fun and stuff. And then when the pandemic thing started, I started doing like blogging. I started doing like motorcycle racers and stuff. And I have a few shows like mysterious places and events. I talk about mysterious things. I have like 20 videos of that one. I need to make another one. I'm doing a lot of live stream right now, so I don't have time to do that show. But I just do a lot of like blogging on motorcycle racers. I like the speedway motorcycle racing. If you don't know what speedway is, it's a really cool. I have a few trophies up behind me. I don't know if you can see them. There's a few trophies up here on the wall. I used to race motorcycles. There's my uniform right there, if you can see it. The bumblebee stripe. I have the bumblebee, and I'm on the wall. I have a couple pictures. And then I have, like I say, some trophies. And I won 1 or 2 main events in my day. So I got lucky. Actually, I went ahead and told all the riders to go ahead. I told nice. I told these guys. I just said that we just go ahead and do some riding, and I just said, just let me win, okay? Just let me know. We go ahead. When we race, we're really serious, and we go out and we really want to win. So when you ride the motorcycles, you really, you go for it, and you got to be in shape, and you got to use your head. Actually, riding motorcycles really is a lot of mental. When you race speedway and other motorsports, you have to think a lot. It's really a thinking guy. And a lot of the younger racers, when I used to race some of the teenagers, they were very excited. They're like, I want to win. I want to win. And I said, okay, go for it. And usually I was reading a story today on Mike Bass. I really like this racer. His name is Mike Bass because he always used his mind. He always was thinking when he was racing. And I like that this guy was really like thinking. And he's one of my favorite racers because he's one of the most, they called him like a computer brain, this guy, because he went ahead and he was thinking so much. He was like a computer. This guy was an amazing guy. His name was Michael Bass. He was number 11. That's Bobby Boogaloo Shorts' number. And number 1, Michael Bass. I think I'm going to do a show on Mike Bass because Mike Bass is really cool. And he's going to be on our show. Mike Bass is kind of considered like a villain, with his brother, Steve. They didn't like to do interviews. They weren't very friendly as far as like some of the other riders like Sonny Nutter and Bill Cody and Danny Berserko Becker. A lot of these guys, they really were friendly and they got to they did interviews and stuff. But Mike Bass and Steve Bass were not like that. They were opposite. They didn't like to talk to people and stuff like that. So everyone kind of thought these guys were like villains. They really didn't like them at all. And of course, they're really good riders and they were amazing. So Mike Bass started to win all these races at the Costa Mesa Fairgrounds and everywhere. He won over 4,000 races. Can you imagine if you're racing like top quality riders, the best in the United States and the world, and you win over 4,000 racers? I think you're a good rider. Some people can't even win 5 or 1. And Mike Bass won over 4,000 races with semi-events, the heat races, and the main event. So Mike Bass was an amazing rider. And I made a 4-part series on Mike Bass, and Mike, well, he watched the videos last week, and his wife Dee, she said, Brian, Mike really likes your videos, and he approved. And I'm like, wow! So that was cool. That actually this guy who's just really a great motorcycle rider, I did this 4-part series on Mike Bass from his like beginning to when he was like till now actually. And Mike Bass was an amazing rider, and he actually had a stroke or something, and it really got bad. So Mike Bass, he had a bit of bad luck, I guess you could say, and he's doing good, which is really great to hear. But he's had some difficulties health wise, and so we wish Mike Bass all the luck in the world and all the best. But Mike Bass, he doesn't really do a lot of interviews, and he's not really like a sociable guy. And that's why people didn't like him, because he didn't connect with the people. Mike Bass, when he was racing, he did all of his talking on the track. The guy was really crazy good, and he won so much that the people actually booed him. They're like, boo, we don't like you, because the guy was so good, and he won all the time. People used to go to the races to see this guy lose because they're sick and tired of the guy winning all the time. And Mike Bass was like a computer. I think Brad Oxley in an interview, he said that Mike Bass is like a computer brain. I mean, the guy's like totally a computer. And so we want to talk with him. We want to find out what makes the computer tick. And that's Michael Bass. He's really a good rider. Before he doesn't ride anymore, actually. He's like, I don't know, he's maybe in his latter 60s or so. And he doesn't ride motorcycles. He has what's called a vertigo, which means that, like when he drives, it kind of like spins him around a little bit because of his stroke situation. So Michael Bass doesn't really ride motorcycles anymore, which is really sad because this was like one of the best motorcycle riders on the planet Earth. I mean, Mike could ride like motocross. He could ride like road racing. Mike Bass could ride anything. He was a Hollywood stuntman. He was in the movie Freebie and the Bean. Did you see that movie? He actually stunt doubled for, I think it was like, who was that guy? It was like Michael Caine or something like that, one of the Hollywood actors. Mike Bass, he stunt doubled for this movie actor, and he rode over like cars. This was a long time ago, many years ago, and he rode over like 10 or 15 cars on a trials bike. He could ride anything. And I watched that movie when it came out in the movie theater, and I knew Mike was in that movie, and I was like, there's Michael Bass, and he was in the movies on Freebie and the Bean. I was reading that Michael, when they did that movie, they did like a interview, and Mike said they just gave him this trials bike, and then he did one take. He just got on the trials bike, and he just went over the cars. I mean, he didn't have a helmet, I think, on or nothing. He just he looked like the movie actor, and he just got on the motorcycle. So that's Michael Bass, and he's an amazing rider and just a really great guy. And we're going to do a blog on him. I'm going to do a live stream. I'm going to prepare for that today. Maybe tomorrow I do that. Tomorrow, maybe this time or a little earlier, I may do a blog on Michael Bass. We're going to show lots of pictures, and we're going to hopefully, I don't know if I have any video on Michael, but, we'll see. But anyways, I want to thank Tata for adding me on that Facebook group. There's a lot of people subscribing to the channel from the Facebook. It's like I don't know what it is. It's like a Facebook, YouTube chat thing. I didn't even do it, so you can't blame me. I don't know anything about this, but I have a friend. He's one of my buddy's mothers, actually. I have a friend named Sam, and his mother is a very sweet lady. She's actually visited us several times. She's a real great lady. And his mom went ahead and added me on this Facebook group. So there's lots of nice people, and look forward to meeting lots of you on the Facebook chat group. So that's really great. And so we look forward to that and just hanging out with that particular group, getting to know the people. So that's really great. And so we're just hanging out. Just got back from the beach in Boracay. If you don't know what Boracay is, it's like the number 2 best beach on planet Earth. It's really nice, and right now it's a little cold. We're getting ready for summer, but the weather hasn't actually changed to summer yet, which is kind of nice in a way. But it's going to be hot and very nice. The water is a little cold than like normal right now. So normally the water in Boracay is really nice and like warm, but because the sky is a little overcast right now, it's a little cool. It's not cold. If you go to California and United States, let's say Newport Beach, it's really cold, especially in the wintertime. My God, you like die. You have to have a wetsuit on just to jump in the water. But the water here is, it's just a little chilly, but it's not anything like California. it's a lot warmer than that. But we're spoiled. We like 80-degree water, and so that feels really great. And so we're just hanging out, and we're testing out this Blue microphone. This guy named George, and I want to thank George because he went ahead and he had a business, and I subscribed and I paid for this business, a live stream, and all my shows were getting ruined from George's live stream program. I was pretty upset, and I didn't know what to do because I was a paid customer, and his service. I'm not going to mention the name of the service because George was really nice. He actually gave me this really nice keyboard. I don't know if I can show it to you. He gave me this nice keyboard. It's a Logix Pro, really nice. It's upside down. It's upside down. It has a lighted keyboard. He sent that on FedEx and from the United States. It costs a fortune. It's very heavy. So I got this week from America free because they screwed up so many of my shows. George says, I will send you a gift. He was going to send me a $50 gift certificate from Amazon, and then they spent a lot more money. And he went ahead and turned me on to this really cool microphone, and it works really good. It works. So that was really nice. And so we're upgrading our system, and we went ahead and, remodeling the studio. And there's some of my trophies up there, if you can see. Let's see if we get, there's some few trophies up there. I think I had like 60 or 65. I have a lot of plaques. They're hiding. I didn't put half the plaques up because I don't have room for all that stuff. But there's a lot of trophies. I have my uniform. There's my Bumblebee uniform. And when I go racing in America, hopefully soon, I'd love to go this year. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. But the kids used to always like my stripes, and the parents used to say, can we touch your Bumblebee yellow stripes? And I go, you want to? And so I would hold my arm out, and everybody would like, wow, you're the Bumblebee. And they would like see those stripes. Because one side of my uniform has the stripes, and the other side of the uniform didn't have the stripes. So one side of my uniform was really like, it was really like visible. And then the other side of my uniform was really like, you couldn't see me. So they used to call me, now you see him and now you don't, because the uniform was like, I'd go black, when the black side was facing you. And then when I came at you the other direction, it was all yellow with the stripes and stuff. And then it would be very bright. So they used to call me, now you see him and now you don't, because you could see me one turn and then the next way it was invisible. So my uniform was kind of interesting. Kelsey Gordon of NJK, he went ahead and he made that uniform. I just told Kelsey, just make the uniform. I don't care what you do. Make me a Bumblebee uniform and have fun. And he did that one. So we have a good time with the Bumblebee uniform. Hopefully we can put that on and go racing. I'm not sure I'm going to do any good. I'll probably crash or something. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, so we just had a good day today in Boracay and went ahead and just hung out and took care of something. I had to do some cleaning and stuff like that. Lots of fun stuff. So, and talk to some people and stuff, but it was good. And then I went ahead and I upgraded my Wi-Fi today. So my live stream, I had to upgrade and try to make it a little better so that we have a little faster speed, because everything was looked pretty good on the live stream except for the speed of the Wi-Fi connection. So I went ahead and upgraded it, because in the Philippines they don't really have that good of Wi-Fi compared to like maybe Germany or America or a lot of these kind of countries. So in the Philippines, the Wi-Fi is a little harder to get the faster Wi-Fi. The internet connection's a little more difficult. So it makes it a little difficult to do the live stream shows when your internet connection is not that good. So today we upgraded the internet connection and we made it a little faster. So we're going to check that out and see how that works. And so, yeah, we want to do a show, but we had all these things. And yesterday I had to take my motorcycle like an hour and a half trip to return a broken microphone that was not compatible with the new computer. So we went ahead and had a really good motorcycle ride yesterday to the city called Kalibo. Can you say Kalibo? Kalibo. I said that one. And so we turned the microphone off and got rid of it, actually. And so we got this new mic. It's a blue mic. Look at this thing. This thing's cool. It's like the old-fashioned microphone from the 1920s. But it works. So I guess don't laugh. It works, right? So we're just hanging out, and we're doing a test today. We're doing a test. And we can talk anything. You can chat with me on Facebook, and you can ask me any questions if you want. I have the live stream. We have Brian Smith and we have Scott Weeks on the Facebook today. So I'm sure, I don't know if they're there. Maybe they're gone. But we're just hanging out, shooting the breeze, hanging out, doing nothing. Once in a while, I just like to just have fun and just chill, and because a lot of my shows are very, there's a lot of history, and I have to do a lot of research and study and add photographs. What I do, it's kind of a lot of work, actually. It's a lot of work. I love it, though, but it's a lot of work. So it's kind of fun to just do an impromptu show and just hang out with you today. So that's what we're doing. We have the bird, Bebop, and she likes to be hanging out. She's like a real human kind of person bird. And she just thinks she's human, actually. And she's really sweet. Say hi, Bebop. You say hi. She's very cute. She's going to bite the camera. Oh, she bit the camera. She licked the camera. She bites like everything. I mean, this bird, she like bites everything. She's a biter. So anyways, yeah, we're just hanging out on the Facebook and the YouTube. I have a Twitch. I don't know if you know what that is, but I have this account and nobody ever watches in Twitch. But in Facebook, I get a lot of views from Facebook and also from the YouTube. I have a lot of subscribers. Actually, I'm pushing like 600. So if you subscribe to my channel, thank you so much. I mean, I don't want to be begging people for subscribers and stuff. I just want to let the channel grow naturally. And, if people like my channel, they're more than welcome to join the family. And if they don't like it, I guess that's tough luck. But I'm just an easygoing guy, and I don't really mind. I know that one of the things with with my channel is I want to provide a quality experience for the people. When I do my shows and stuff, I want to educate the people and give them some history of different things, especially the motorcycle, the Speedway motorcycle, because the history is really important. And, it's good to preserve that history for generations to come, the best you can, preserve that history. So that's what I do with my live stream show. And I like to blog different writers and stuff like that. And I'm doing this series of the history of the Speedway motorcycle race. I did this first show. It was 1910 to 1968 or 67, actually. And then I did a show 1968, which was the revival of the modern day speedway at the Whiteman Stadium. I did a show just on all the different stuff going on there, the riders and stuff. It was a lot of fun. And then that was 1968. And then we had Rick Woods was the first United States Speedway champion in the modern era in 68. And then we had the revival. My last show was the revival of modern day speedway at the Costa Mesa Fairgrounds. And we went ahead and did a show on that, which was a lot of fun. So we do a lot of motorcycle stuff on the show, and we do a lot of other stuff too. Sometimes when I travel, I do blogging. My GoPro is not working at the moment, so it's a little harder for me to blog because I need my hands for shifting and stuff. And when I was riding with my GoPro, I could use like the selfie stick, and I could just hold the selfie stick and do the videos as I'm riding kind of with one hand. It was easy, but without the GoPro, it's a little bit tougher. So we're going to work on that, in the future so we can do more blogging. The motorcycle is a lot of fun to do blogging on and travel. There's a lot of fun stuff, a lot of fun places to go. There's really great dirt riding here, and I need to get a dirt bike really bad. Let's go do some dirt riding. But we ride the motorcycle every day, and it's a lot of fun. But we want to go ahead and welcome everybody on the Facebook chat. The famous, it's called like RA Famous or something. I don't know what the name, but these guys are subscribing to the channel, and we want to thank you so much for that from this chat on Facebook. I didn't even know about it until my friend Tata, my friend's mother Tata, she went ahead and told, can I put you on this? And I'm like, okay, whatever, it's okay. But we just have a good time here. And this is called the Beehive, and the Beehive it's like a studio where we just do a lot of live stream, and we just have a good time in the hive. So we're just hanging out, enjoying the day, and I hope everyone's doing good. And no more questions, no more questions. I guess I answered every question there is in the world. No, just joking. But we're going to probably do a blog on Mike Bass tomorrow. I should probably do one on the early day speedway, either that or the early day speedways, like from 1970 to maybe the early 70s, like 74, because that was really a cool time in the history. And it was the heyday of the sport. I mean, there's a lot of money being made, and some of these riders were buying houses, and they were making big money, and they cleaned up. So that was really fun. And I wish I raced in that day, because I would probably have made a lot of money, even though Mike Bass would have been hard to beat, but you had to work really hard to beat that guy. And actually, I had a little success with him when in the latter part of his career, but not that much, because he was kind of hard to beat. And we'd like to talk with Mike Bass in the hive, so we're going to do that. So thank you so much for watching the live stream here. We're just hanging out here in the Beehive, and we're just shooting the crap today. We're just doing nothing here. I finished my blog, and as you can see, it's called Let's Go to Boracay. Let's Go to Boracay is the name of my new blog. I did that like 2 hours ago, and I was on the boat to Boracay and stuff like that, and I filmed, the whole area, just having fun on the beach and just hanging out, and it was just a good time. Sometimes I just do these nonsense blogs, just having fun and pretty much, just kicking it. So I like doing that. I'm actually a pretty easygoing guy. I'm not really, too high structured. But when I do my shows, I have to really be prepared, and I have to do my homework. But I like to pretty much just kick back and enjoy life, and so it's really good. And my channels, like I say, we're having a good time on it's like a speedway channel, because when you do blogs, you have to figure out the audience, you have to find out who's watching you, who likes your content, and what kind of content do people like. And I did a lot of Boracay, the island and stuff. I did one today, but people, they watch the videos, but they're not that interested really in the island that much. Maybe there's a few people, but actually my motorcycle blogs get really big attention. So I end up doing the motorcycle blogs a lot because people like those a lot. So you kind of have to gravitate to what's working and what people like to see. So the motorcycle blogs really become successful. And I do that live stream chat. I have guests on. I've had world champions on, American champions. I've had, I want to get European champions on the show, just people from all over the world. Now that we've upgraded our system, so it's going to be fun. We can do multi chats and stuff like that. We can bring guests online and we can have a good time. So we're preparing for the future and we're going to have some good shows. So if you did subscribe to the channel, you can ring that notification bell because you can be alerted when we have these really cool guests. She's dancing for you. She's a dancing machine. She likes to dance. So yeah, if you ring that bell, that way actually you'll be notified of these great broadcasts we're going to have. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And also my Speedway shows. I try to do one show every day just because like a lot of people like it. And there's a few people that say, oh, I really like your show. And I am really addicted to it. And I really enjoy watching. So that kind of makes me feel good. People enjoy the show. And they're getting some value out of it. They're learning some things. So it's kind of like a history lesson sometimes of the motorcycle stuff. And also people, like these people are really interesting and characters. So we go ahead and we do a lot of like talking about the different people because it's difficult if I have to talk about myself because I probably have like only 1 minute or 2 minutes and then I'm done, no more. I mean, I don't know. I could talk about myself, but actually it's really more fun to talk about other people and also just share their life and their history. It's really neat to do that. And you go ahead sometimes and honor people, all their accomplishments, and it's a lot of fun just to go ahead and do that. So that's it. I'm just hanging out today, testing the live stream and checking out. We got a new microphone, so we're testing out. Do I sound okay? I hope I sound okay because, we have Sunny from Denmark. We have Europe in the house today. Sunny, he's one of my Facebook. My bird is really cool. Here, Sunny. We have this really nice guy. He's actually one of the big followers on the YouTube channel. He's a Speedway lover named Sunny from Denmark. And there's my bird. Say hi to Sunny. Where are you? There you are. She has beautiful blue eyes. She's very pretty. We call her Pretty Bird. She's been with me for like 11 years, Sunny. And she's been really with me a long time. So the sound is good. Great. The sound is great. And the picture's slow. I upgraded the Wi-Fi, so we're working on that. I paid a lot of money for my Wi-Fi, and I think it's still not up to speed, so I apologize, but at least the sound comes in. The Wi-Fi actually is probably the biggest problem that I have on my show, and today, I don't know if it's working properly or not, but I went ahead and paid a lot of money to upgrade the Wi-Fi. But in the Philippines, I guess the Wi-Fi is not that great. So it's a little slow and it's not really, really super. But that's just the way it is. I think if I was in America or something like that, the Wi-Fi would be really fast because, it's just the way it works. But we're going to work on improving. But actually, in my area, I max the MBs out on the Wi-Fi, so I cannot get any more Wi-Fi. I did all the Wi-Fi, but we're waiting for Globe to come out with that 50 MB or the 100 MB. I think 50 is enough. And we're going to try the 50 MB. And so you like the bird, huh? We have Sunny from Denmark. He likes Bebop. Bebop actually isn't really liking boys too much. Bebop she's kind of a girl lover and she likes girls a lot. And when guys are around, she's very scared. She doesn't like the guys. So you have to get, actually, Bebop, I raised since she was hatched in an egg. She was just a little bird. I think she was an egg. And I told the guys, like, when this bird hatches, you grab the bird out of the whatever mother's nest. Grab the bird out of mother's nest. And then we take the bird and we put the bird in an incubator. She's cleaning herself. She works really hard. She likes to just sleep all day because she works hard doing nothing. So she's very tired all the time. She just likes to sleep. But I told the guy, like, when the bird is born, just grab the bird and then take it and then put it in an incubator so we can hand feed it. So that's exactly what they did. They had these Philippine boys watching the nest. And then when Bebop was born, they grabbed the baby bird and they went ahead and they put it in an incubator. And then every day, this was like 11 years ago, every day I would go see the bird and I would go ahead and like hold it like this because she had like a baby, their eyes are closed and they can't really see. And I used to go to the bird when she had no feathers or anything. She was born like a naked bird, she's very ugly. I should show you a picture. And I would just hold the bird like this and I'd say, "Hi, Bebop, how you doing?" "Hi, Bebop." But she got to know my voice. She's so sweet. She's really sweet. And actually, if you get a bird, Sonny, you want to get like a hand-fed, hand-raised baby, So you want to get a baby that's fresh, without a lot of abuse, because birds, they kind of like are very like, if they're abused, they're kind of ruined for life. Let's say if you have a dog, and let's say somebody kicking the dog forgets after like 5 or 10 minutes and he's okay. But a bird, you kick a bird or you hurt a bird and for its whole life, it's traumatized. So you have to be very careful with birds because they have a good memory. And if they get hurt, they really traumatize forever. So the Wi-Fi is okay, Sonny? Yeah. Well, I'm glad I'm here live streaming and hanging out with you. It's nighttime in Denmark. What time is it? And I'm having your channel to watch at night. That's cool. And yeah, it's actually it's like daytime here, and it's like gosh, what time is it? It's like, what time is it? It's like 12 o'clock noon. It's 2 o'clock. It's 2 o'clock, and it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I just got back from the beach, swimming and blogging. So I went ahead and did blogging. Oh, this bird is so sweet. I mean, that bird is like amazing. And so it's 7 o'clock, and what's today? Like Thursday, because yesterday was trash day, and I think it was Wednesday. So I guess the day after trash day is always Thursday. So yeah, so it's I guess it's Thursday at 2 p.m. and it's 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm not sure, like, if you're ahead or behind us. I'm not really sure. But Denmark, it's got to be cold in Denmark, like in the winter. And where I live, it's like 10 degrees north of the equator. And 10 degrees north of the equator means it's very hot. And it's always like 70 degrees. And then it gets to 80 or maybe 90 in the summer. So we always average like in the 70s or something like that. And normally, she said pretty girl. So it's warm here. And I know in Denmark, Norway, and Sweden, it's really cold, right, in the winter. I have a business partner, and he lives in Germany. And he said he's very cold in Europe right now. So it's very nice and warm here in the Philippines. And so we enjoy it. Actually, I kind of retired here because I wanted to live in a place that was more warm, and there's lots of pretty women in the Philippines. Lots of pretty girls, but I don't have lots of girls. I wish I did. I wish girls would like me so much. I'd have like I'd like a harem. I'd be like a Muslim guy with like 50 wives, but I don't have that. So I'm happy I don't have that because I don't have the expense. I'm very kuriput when it comes to ladies. So I, no, well, kuriput means like, it means like you're thrifty. The more girls you have, the more money it costs to support them. So you want to have fewer girlfriends with lesser family members and fewer people to support. That way you can have money to buy your food and not give it all away. So it's a minus 10 degrees in Denmark. Oh my gosh. That is cold stuff in Denmark. I think, I think that's cold. And you need to move to the Philippines, Sonny, so you can like have a nice, put your bathing suit on and I always wear like t-shirts and stuff like that. I think minus 10 degrees and frost, you need like the heavy jacket and everything like that because it's really cold. And I went to college, and when I was in college in Utah, Southern Utah State, at the Southern Utah State University. And during the winter, it was snowing, and I had a business there, and it was like Sonny's car. It was frozen solid, and it's cold. Like I had this old car. It was like, what was it? I forgot the name of the car, but it was this old car. It was a little like car for college-age people, and it used to get cold, like Sonny's car. It would get frozen cold, and then I would have to start this car up in the morning, and then I would open the hood of this car. It was a little like economy car, it was a tiny little car, and then they used to have a carburetor, like it was an old car, and then you take the carburetor. It was frozen, like they have something called the float in a carburetor, and it moves up and down, and then when it got so cold, the float would freezing so that the car would not start. So every day I had to open the hood, and then I'd have to pop the carburetor like boing, and then it would like loosen up. I have to hit it because it was frozen with the snow and the cold. And then I could start my car when the float was moving. So I was in college at the time, and I had a business. I had this like disco business. I had like a dance place, an entertainment place, and I had video games and stuff like that. And I had that while I was going to college. So a couple of times in the middle of the night, I got calls. I had an alarm system on my business, and then I would get a call, and they'd say, somebody's broke into your business. And so the police would all come there, and they say, you must come at 2:00 in the morning, and we must find the thief that's trying to break into your business. So sometimes I would have to get up in the middle of the night, and I would have to go pop that float that I told you about on the carburetor, and I would have to drive to my business about 10 minutes away, and my car would be like in the snow, and it'd be like, speedway, speedway. I don't like this driving in the snow. It was not fun. So I think I just never really adapted to the snow, really. And I lived in London for a while, and London has that cold Russian breeze that blows from the north, and it's really cold, especially like in the winter months. And I used to go outside when I was walking, and that Russian wind would blow right through you. And no matter how many clothes you had, many jackets you wore, you were freezing cold, and your feet was numb because it was so cold. So Sonny lives in Denmark, and I know it's even closer to Russia up in Denmark, and it's freezing but cold. So I was born in Southern California and raised near Disneyland. Do you know Disneyland? Disneyland is the happiest place on earth. And they don't have season passes anymore. Those dirty rats. I used to have these season passes to Disneyland, and we would pay like It'd be like $100 a year, like 5,000 pesos in the Philippine money. And then we'd have all year, we could go to Disneyland and they'd have a few blackout dates, like special dates you can't go, populated dates. But we used to go to Disneyland all the time and it was really fun. And the weather's kind of warmer in Southern California. It's like 75 degrees today, which is a really nice. My friends on Facebook posted the weather report, so I know what's going on over there. I know when it rains and I know when it's nice, and I guess it's nice there. And they've had some rain recently and stuff, but the weather in California is really mild, basically, and it's really nice. So, anyways, so when you go to like places like southern Utah or Denmark or London, it's really cold, especially in the winter. And if you're born and raised in warm weather, like I was, you're kind of like a baby when it comes to like dealing with the cold weather. And I'm kind of like that. I have a lot of friends in England and stuff in London, and they asked me to come visit, and I just don't visit because I just like, I don't like that weather and stuff like that. But I do like London as far as like, visiting and stuff. But with the COVID thing now, there's no traveling. So forget that. But I just don't like the cold weather. And I would never live in a cold weather. Sonny, I would never live in Denmark. You couldn't get me for $1 million to go live in Denmark. And I live at the #2 best beach in the world, so it's really gorgeous and it's really clean. The government has done a really great job in cleaning up the island and making it beautiful. And there's lots of palm trees. It's beautiful white sandy beach, and they've went ahead and redid all the roads and the infrastructure, and they made the island really, really gorgeous. And so they're turning this island that was actually a really great island before, and they're turning it into like the #2 best beach in the world, best island. So it's really cool. And you have to, respect the island and not litter and take care of it. And they're preserving the island for many generations to come. So it's a lot of fun. I like to blog there. I blog there today. And it's beautiful. There was not that many people on the beach, and it was just really great. So you have a Swedish Volvo. Oh, S40. I don't know what that is, but it sounds like it's pretty good. And, that's the Volvo is a nice car. I mean, if you have a Volvo, you got a dependable car. And that's from Sweden, and it's really a good car. When we were racing in England, it rained all the time. So the race was off like 5 out of 6 nights off. Yeah, I mean, it rains all the time in England, and especially like at the beginning of the speedway season, it's a little bit cold and then it's rainy, and England rains all the time. When I lived in England for a few years, and I hung out all over, and it was always raining actually it was raining all the time. And then they had like 2 weeks a year that was sunny in England, and Sunny was enjoying sunny weather in sunny England. And it was like in August or something like that. And then it's really a couple of weeks, only weeks. I was in Wimbledon by the Speedway track. And actually, was it Wimbledon? Yeah, Wimbledon. And it was actually nice in the summer, really nice, but it only lasted 2 weeks. So you got 2 weeks of good weather in England, and then it's really beautiful. I mean, it's sunshine, it's really gorgeous, and then it goes away and it starts becoming cold again. So you have to get used to that ugly weather. And Sunny, when you were riding Speedway in England, it was raining 5 out of 6 nights, and I don't doubt that one bit, because it's always raining they call it, when I was in England, I didn't actually get a good tan, and my body was really white. I have a white skin, but if I get sun and then I get a good tan and stuff, I can tan. I actually look cocoa dark when I have a good tan. It looks pretty good. But when I was living in England, there was no sun, like And I have an ex-girlfriend with a husband or boyfriend in England and London, and he's white as snow. And I was white as snow too when I lived in England. I mean, there's no sun, there's no vitamin D. It really sucks. And I never liked that weather, and being that white is really no fun. And when I got home to California from England, I went to the beach. It was around September that year, and I was really ugly, like white. My skin was so white, it looked like I was dead for like a month or two, and it wasn't very pretty. And so I went to the beach in Newport Beach, and I laid out on the sand, and because I wanted to get a tan because I was so ugly white living in England for such a long time. And I was laying on the beach. It was September, and September is like the end of the summer. Like it's beginning of like the fall. The fall starting in October or so. September, starts changing weather, starts getting a little cooler and stuff. So the sun isn't very good in September compared to, let's say, June or July or August. The sun's really hot, but September, it starts getting a little bit faded out. And the lifeguards I heard this, I was laying down trying to get this tan because I was so ugly white. And then I heard this like car on the beach right next to me. And then I kind of was like, I was sunbathing, so I wasn't really looking. And then I get up and I look at this, I heard this noise like a car or Jeep. And then I look up, and then there's the lifeguards. There's like 6 of these lifeguards, these handsome guys, with a lifeguard, swim shorts and stuff. And they were laughing at me. They were pointing. They were like, "Look at that guy. He's white as snow. He looks ugly." And they're laughing at me. So I realized at that time that maybe I was very white when they're laughing at me. And in England, you just don't get that much sun. So a lot of these motorcycle riders, the speedway riders, when they go over to England, especially from California or like warm places, if you live in South America or something, it's a real cultural shock because it's always wet in England. Hi, Tata. How you doing? I want to thank you so much for joining me today and also adding me to the Facebook group. And the people seem really nice. And we got a couple of subscribers. So we want to thank you guys for that. That's really cool. And, we have a lot of fun doing the live stream. And we do just developing our system. And Sunny said that the voice was pretty good because we're just doing a live chat. We're talking about anything today. We're just having a good time. And so, yeah, thanks so much for setting me up with all these different people. And hopefully we can have some good shows, get some subscribers, and have a good time together in the hive. So this is my beehive, Tata. I'll show it to you. This is the beehive. Has lots of my trophies from motorcycle. I got some lights going on right there. I got my helmet and my motorcycle, my bumblebee uniform. It's back there. You can see it with the bumblebee stripes. And I have some pictures. We're going to add some more pictures. I have a banner here. You can't see it, but that's my big bumblebee. It's huge. It's my bumblebee banner. It goes all the way across the wall. And I have my helmets. I'm in the way. There's my bib, number 7. My racing number was 77. So, and then I have my couple. The bottom motorcycle helmet is the helmet I used today. I used that yesterday, actually, not today. I was riding yesterday. I went on a trip returning some stuff at the store, about 2-hour drive, but I made it in only one. And because I ride fast, life is short, so ride fast. And then that top helmet is life is short, so ride hard. Ride hard or go home. Like, forget the pussy riding. Like, let's get it on, baby. Ride it hard. The motorcycle's like, it's like, it's part of you. So you gotta turn it loose. So I've been riding a long time, but that top helmet is the Bumblebee helmet, and that was the one I raced with. And the bottom one, this one here, let's see if I can get closer. the bottom one is the helmet I was riding yesterday, this bottom helmet. And I wear that when I go ride. I like some protection for safety. And then the bib, and this helmet up here, wherever it is, there's a helmet up there. Where are you? There it is, the black one. That was my black helmet. I have it just hanging on the wall. Those are retired. They're no longer in service. They're like, goodbye, no more. I have lots of helmets in my life, but I got rid of most of my helmets. I wish I saved my helmets. I had some really cool helmets in my day, but helmets are kind of big and bulky, so we had to get rid of them, And so anyways, yeah. So Sonny, what were you saying? And thank you for watching, Tata. England, February is really cold in England. If you're like living in England in February, oh my gosh, it's so cold. And, I was talking to some of these motorcycle racers like Bruce the Fox Penhall. Can you say Bruce the Fox Penhall? He was really an amazing rider. And then he came from Newport Beach, California. That's like Balboa Beach, by the surfer capital of the world. It's nice and warm most of the time there in Newport Beach. And then he went over to England in like the late 70s to race Speedway. And it's just a total cultural shock, like just coming from California and going to England. The weather is so cold and it's so frosty and it's so ugly and horrible. And California weather is so much nicer. And like the Philippine weather is so nice. And actually the Philippines is like Hawaii. It's really tropical. It's really nice. Like it gets a little chilly, but not that much. And like California, it does get a little cold, maybe in January, February, some days. I remember riding my street bike. I had a Honda 650 or 600 Enduro, and it was fast. I rode it every day when I was living in California. I bought it brand new. It was a beautiful Enduro bike. And my hands were cold, like frozen. I'd have to like peel each finger off. I had to peel my fingers off the thing. Okay, they're cold. My fingers were cold living in California during the thing. So, So we have some members, famous Jonalyn, Jetaliv. I can't say it. And, please subscribe. Oh, Tata, you're so sweet. We just have a good time. But the cold weather is really hard, it's really hard to to just ride the motorcycles in that cold weather and stuff. And I ride motorcycles every day. I'm kind of a motorcycle nut. And I ride every day. I ride motorcycle. I rode for like a half hour, 45 minutes today, just taking a joyride, riding everywhere. Yesterday I was on a 2-hour trip to the Kalibu. It's a city about 2 hours, but I made it in over an hour. I think I was going fast. And I just love to ride motorcycles. It's really dangerous, though, when you ride motorcycles because people are trying to crash you all the time, and it's really dangerous. But I guess you have to use your racing experience to avoid, getting crashed. I like to go fast, like going slow is kind of boring. So I like to turn it loose. And it's a lot. And the road that I go, like yesterday, is a lot of winding roads. It's really fun. It's going up mountains, winding roads. It's very beautiful. It's really gorgeous. So anyway, so we have the family of K family. The famous family is here. Hey, welcome you guys to the Hive, everybody. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Beehive. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, we're just hanging out here. And yeah, we had Sonny, we had an interview a week or two ago with one of the most famous motorcycle racers in my sport ever. He's the top 5 in the whole history and the number 1 or number 2 United States famous guys, Bruce Penhall. And he saw me talking with Bruce yesterday, telling him about about my sister. I have a sister I haven't seen her in a little while, but I have a sister. I have two sisters, and if hopefully I can say hi if they're around. And when I was younger, when I was like 16, my sister, my older sister Debbie, she's kind of like 10 years older than me. So I was like 16 and she was like 26 years old. Uh, she was my pit lady. And a pit lady, if you don't know, it's like somebody who helps you clean your tires and puts gasoline or methanol fuel in your gas tank. And she's helping you. And I had my first race against Bruce. My first race in Division One, which is like against the fast guys, because I raced for a little while against some really fast guys. And I got to race Bruce Penhall before he became famous and went to Europe. And I raced him. And welcome, you guys. The famous family is here. Woo! I'm telling you a motorcycle story. It's a good one. So hold on. Let me finish this. So anyways, I had this race against one of the most famous racers ever in American history. This guy was good. I mean, this guy was famous. And I was starting handicap, which means towards the front of the line. And he was starting towards the back because he was really fast. And I was just a new rider at the time. And so it was my heat race. And I was winning the whole race, which is like 6 laps. So that was really good for like a first time Division One top level rider. And these guys are fast. And I was holding them off. So I was very proud. And then at the last turn, at the last lap, I bobbled a little bit, which means like I made a little mistake. And then this guy, Bruce Penhall, he was drag racing me to the finish line. And yeah, go ahead. I think some of my friends are Tagalog speaking, and Visaya and Ilonggo and Zamboanga. All these languages they have in the Philippines. There's too many. And I have some nosebleed friends, so I don't have any pictures to show you, so just hang in there with me. I don't speak a lot of Tagalog, and I'm very lazy. I'm very terrible with languages. I think when I was 18 years old, they gave me a language test, and I didn't do very good when I was 18, so I just decided maybe language isn't the best thing for me, so I forget it. I know words and stuff, but I don't speak a lot of Tagalog, the Philippine language. But I know some words, a lot of words, but I don't speak fluent Philippine language. But actually, I've had a couple girlfriends. I'm not married, I'm single, so if there's any cute girls out there that want to date a handsome guy, I'm here for you. I'm here, baby. No, just joking. But I've had a few girlfriends in like the last 11 years. They keep leaving me. They keep finding another guy. And so they always say, I don't want you to learn Tagalog because I want to learn English. So I'm always the English teacher for like if I have a girlfriend. So that's really good because I don't have to work very hard to talk English. It comes kind of natural. So I didn't have to learn like Tagalog and stuff. So that's actually was really nice for me. Sometimes I meet a girl, like let's say at a store, maybe a checker, let's say at like a store buying a product. And then the girl says, do you speak Tagalog? And I'm like, no, I don't speak Tagalog. And they're like, I speak a little. I know words, but I don't speak like fluently. And then they're like, oh, okay, I don't like you because you don't speak Tagalog. I was like, bye-bye. So I don't speak. And so anyways, Bruce Penhall was the reason why Sonny, he went ahead and raced Speedway. Really? Bruce Penhall was the reason why I wanted to beat him in Speedway. Bruce, I didn't race Speedway because of Bruce Penhall. I raced Speedway because of like Rick Woods and Michael Bass and these guys. I used to go to the races when I was a little kid, and I just loved the motorcycle races. And when I was a little kid, I just liked the Speedway. And my first time I went to the motorcycle races, I must have been like 8 years old or something like that, maybe 8 years old. And it was at the Costa Mesa Fairgrounds back, in the glory days of the Speedway. And I was just a little kid, like going to Levita Elementary School, this little school. And I'm sitting there on my desk, like bored, listening to teacher. And my friend, his name is Mike DeMont, he said to me, he turned to me and said, "Hey, Brian, come here, come here, come here, come here." And I said, "What, Mike?" And he said, "Hey, my sister, she works at the Costa Mesa Speedway and she sells like beer or something. And she said, I can bring a guest to the motorcycle races. And would you like to go to the spear races?" And I said, "What is a speedway race?" And he said, "It's a motorcycle race. It's really fun." I was only like 10 years old or 8 years old or something. I was a little kid. So I said, "Oh, okay." I had no idea what this motorcycle stuff was. I was just a little kid, like a little child in like elementary school, grade school. But this guy, and he's a friend of mine, a new friend of mine on Facebook, Mike DeMont. He's a nice kid, a nice guy, and we were friends when we were children. And so I went to the speedway races at the Costa Mesa Fairgrounds with Mike DeMont and his sister, who was the beer seller. We had to go like 3 or 4 hours before the races to help because she had to set up for the beer booth or something. And I guess I got snuck in. I had no money, I was a little kid. So I got snuck in. And then I saw the speedway races for the first time, the motorcycle races. And I was, like I say, I was like 8 years old or 10 years old or so. I was a little child. And I'm like, wow, this is really cool. And the speedway races are really neat at the Costa Mesa Fairgrounds. The mud. We used to sit really close with Mike, and then we get these tear-offs. They're like little masks, like tear-offs from the racers, and they're like little plastic, like see-through things, protection for your eyes. And we used to put the tear-offs before our eyes, and then we sat in the front row of the Costa Mesa Speedway, and then all the mud and stuff used to fly in our face. It hurt, like when these guys shoot the motorcycle from the mud. It's coming at you like 100 miles an hour, and it hurts. But we had fun. We hold the mask. Our eyes were protected, but our face got like pitted with the mud, and it was like someone shooting a gun at you. And we were laughing our butts off, and it was so much fun. And we loved it. I fell in love with the speedway races, and then we had a great time at the Costa. And I never saw this thing before, so I went cold turkey to the motorcycle races, and then I never experienced this, and it was really a blast. So I said to Mike the next week, I said, "Hey, Mike, can we go back to the speedway races at the Costa Mesa? I had a really good time. I want to go to the speedway races." And Mike said, "No, Brian, you can't go no more ever because my sister got in trouble, and you can never go to a speedway race for the rest of your life." And I said, "What? What?" I said, "Mike, I want to go to speedway, okay?" And he said, "No, Brian, you will never go to the motorcycle races as long as you live." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You think so?" I was hooked as a little child. I had fun with the mud, and they had the castor oil smell and the excitement. There was actually a lot of drinking. The teenage boys, I was a little boy, so I'm not drinking, but the teenage guys were drunk a little bit, and they were fighting. And then there was a lot of cute girls, like the women, like the college age women. But I was a little kid, so I didn't really pay attention to that because I liked the fights and I liked the motorcycle racing. I was a typical boy, a young boy. The girls, I don't look at the college girls. I'm looking at the fights and the motorcycle races. And so I just told Mike, I want to go to the races. And he said, no. So then I asked my mom, I said, "Mom, I was only a young boy, so I don't have a car, right, at 8 years old or 10 years old, And so I asked my mom, I said, "Mom, can I go to the speedway races?" And then in Costa Mesa. And then she said, "No, Brian, you can never go for the rest of your life." I said, "Oh, yeah, Mom, I'm going." And I said, "Mom, why?" And she goes, "I want you to mow the yard. And then if you mow the yard, I might take you." And I said, "Okay, Mom." And then I mowed the yard really fast. And then I said, "Okay, take me to the motorcycle races." I mowed the yard. And then she said, "But coming home is very late, because the races get over at like 10 or 11 p.m. And it's very late for like a mother to, be driving the car. It's dark, and it's just, they didn't want to be driving at 10 or 11 p.m. at night. So I just said, Mom, take me to the races, and then I will find my way home. Like, I will do anything to get home. And she said, are you sure? And I said, yeah, no problem. Just take me like during the daytime, because the races start at like 6 or 7 p.m. And then just leave me off at like 5 o'clock before it gets dark. And then I want to hang out and stuff. So every week, my mom would drive me to the Costa Mesa Speedway when I was just a little kid. And Mike told me I would never go to a speedway race, but I went to lots of them. And then I went ahead and I would meet people during the races, like about halfway through the race. I would sit next to these like old people, like age 20 or 25 years old, these old men and old women in their 20s. And I would say to them, I was a little kid, and I would say, excuse me. I would get to talk to them and get to be friends with them, during the race, because I sat next to a lot of these people at the stands. And then I would say, where do you live? And then they would say, I live like in Riverside. And I say, oh, okay. It was on the way home. And I say, could you drop me off at the Chapman Avenue East exit? Because I have no way to go home. I'm stuck here at the Speedway. And then the guy would either say yes or no. And sometimes I would get a ride from the people like sitting next to me. So that was really great. I would never, if I have a child, I don't have any like children, like minors children. But if I ever had like a child like 10 years old, I would never just tell him to go like find a way home. I would always go pick the child up or go with them, of course, to the motorcycle races. But so if I didn't have a ride home from the speedway races, what I would do is I would go out and I would hitchhike my thumb after the races. So all the people leaving the races would see this little boy hitchhiking, and it was like embarrassing. And then I would get picked up, and then they say, where do you want to go? And I'd say, Orange. And they'd say, okay. So I would get a ride home, but I would never do that anymore. So I got to go to the motorcycle races, and I got to bum my way home. So I did anything to go to the races because my parents didn't like to drive late at night. So we had a good time. And that was actually before Bruce Penhall became famous. So the times have changed, because if I had a child now, I would never just send my child, boy or girl or anything. I would never send my child like somewhere by themselves, because I think it's kind of dangerous. And children should always have like parent supervision to make sure they're safe. But my parents really loved me a lot, and they were really great. So I don't want you to think they're bad, but they just it wasn't very dangerous, I guess. And I never got hurt. So I got lucky a lot. And that was a lot of fun back. So that's how I kind of had my first motorcycle experience with the Speedway, is through this guy, Mike, my classmate. And I went one time and I loved it. And he said, you'll never go to a race again. And if I look at my trophies, I say, really? I'll never go to a race again? I think I went to a race one. I have a couple championship trophies and main events. And I don't know. I wasn't like the best rider in the world, but I was okay. I could handle my own, I don't know. I was kind of born to race. I'm not much of a motorcycle mechanic. I don't really fix motorcycles very well. But you give me a motorcycle, I can pretty much ride anything, any motorcycle in the world. I think I could ride. So it's not like a big deal. So God didn't give me the gift of tongues, of speaking languages, but I have the gift of riding Speedway motorcycles. So it's fun. And then we just do the show, because, it's really nice to be able to just have fun with the things. Since I was a racer before, I know a little bit about it. So it's kind of good if you do a show that you know what you're talking about. It's always good to know a little bit about the subject. And since I was a professional rider for many years, I kind of know a little bit about it. So we're having fun with a live stream. And we've upgraded the studio, and we're totally testing it out, and we're kind of getting ready to bring some guests on. And I have Mike Rooney. Do you know Mike Rooney? He's an announcer over at the Fast Fridays, and he wants to come for a show. This guy used to be a speedway rider, a motorcycle rider, and he's the announcer at Fast Fridays. He's a great announcer too. And I didn't know that Mike was a motorcycle racer, a speedway racer, and I guess he was pretty good at one time. So we're going to have Mike on the show, and we have a lot of different people, but we just want to go ahead and thank you for joining us. Everybody, thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And, who was my mechanic? Oh, Sonny wants to know oh gosh. My mechanic was one of the best genius minds in speedway history. He was an old man at the time, and he has his famous history. I didn't know that when I met him, but I know it now. And his name is Jerry Fairchild. And Jerry Fairchild was an amazing motorcycle mechanic. And that guy was good. He was born like in 1920s or something. The guy was old. And he was just a mastermind. He actually invented the lay down motors of speedway bikes. And he did all this famous stuff. He was an instrumental in the revival of American Speedway. He brought all these old JAP Speedway bikes to the Whiteman Stadium in 1968 to help all the racers race. He had all these bikes from like 1930s, all these old JAPs, and he brought those for all the riders like Sonny Nutter and all these guys to ride. And so Jerry Fairchild was really a big part of my life as a young guy. And I was the last JAP rider to race top level first division. And Jerry Fairchild, he tuned that bike and it went really fast because this guy was, he had actually worked on these bikes for like 50 years. So Jerry knew everything. He could do it really fast. You know, he knew how to like move like Mick Jagger, you know, when he's working on the bike. So he made the bike really fast, and Jerry Fairchild was an amazing mechanic, and he worked on those bikes for me. And when Jerry stopped tuning for me, I knew that I was in trouble because this guy made me, you know, famous. You know, he made me good. And I knew when Jerry stopped tuning for me, that would be trouble. So I really missed that guy. Actually, he stopped tuning for me. I made a really big mistake, you know, when I was a teenager. I was kind of a feisty guy when I was a teenager. And if there's any motorcycle riders out there, don't do what I did. I made a big mistake. And what I did is I didn't thank him properly. And I said that I do the mechanic. And hi, Natasha, how you doing? I hope you're doing well today. We're hanging out here in the Hive. We're talking about my mistake as a teenager. When I was a teenager, I was a number one rider at age 17 at the Santa Ana Bowl, this long track around a speedway track. Bruce Penhall said he didn't like that track because it was too narrow, but I liked it. It was fun. You know, I could pass guys, no problem. They called me the Bumblebee because I used to pass guys at that little, I learned to ride this long quarter-mile track, but it was very narrow. It was a small track, and it was kind of difficult for people to ride. But I had no problem with it. I mean, I did really well. I think I was like the number one point getter at that track. And I hope you're doing good, Natasha. Everything's going good with you. And so then they did this announcing thing with me back when I was like 17 years old. And so I forgot to thank this guy. And the announcer said, "Who does your motorcycle mechanic? Like, who's your mechanic?" And I said, I made the mistake because I did all my minor mechanic work, like cleaning the bike and doing my valve adjustments and preparing my bike. I did all the dirty work, but Jerry did all the engine work. And so I was kind of thinking, he asked, like, who does the work on your bike? Like, you know, I worked on my bike most of the time. So I said, "Oh, I do the work on my bike," which I did. but Jerry got mad because I should have thanked him. I was being a teenager and I made a big mistake. So Jerry came, he was very mad and he said, Brian, I'm not going to mechanic for you. You're a jerk. And I felt bad. I said, no, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean to be a jerk, but Jerry got really pissed off at me. And he went ahead and Jerry went ahead and he said, I'm not going to tune for you no more. So that was the end of my mechanic. And I was really sad, it really took me out because I had the best mechanic on planet Earth and I lost him for being a stupid teenager. So if you're a young rider, a motorcycle rider, always thank your sponsors, always thank your mechanics, and never do what I did and not thank and show appreciation. I kind of misunderstood the question, and so it wasn't meant as mischievous, but it pissed the guy off so much that he stopped helping me, and that really was screwed. But I really had a big success, in my early days, and I had some really good rides, so that was cool. And Jerry made my bike really fast, and I didn't know how to fix a bike very good. I must admit, I'm not really a good mechanic, but if the bike is fast, maybe I could ride it pretty good. So I was more of a rider than I was really a mechanic. And a lot of the people in high school, when I went to El Medina High School in Orange, California, a lot of the people would go to the races and they would really enjoy watching, me racing at the fairgrounds in Costa Mesa. And I had a little bit of success in my early days racing, especially handicap racing. So it was a lot of fun. And, I did really well. And, I stopped racing Speedway because some of the people were getting hurt and dying from the racing. And I got traumatized a little bit. And then one day I just thought, maybe you were going to be if something came in my head said that you're going to have a bad injury, you're going to die or you're going to be in a wheelchair. So I got freaked out and I just said, I want to live, and I want to have a good life. I don't want to be handicapped or I don't want to be dead. So being dead and handicapped is not the way to go. So I decided that I would go back to college, get an education, work, and just, be safe. Because motorcycle racing is really dangerous, but I love it. And I race the motorcycles to this day. But when I was 17 years old, I was really fast. And now I'm not as good as I was when I was 17 for sure. But when you're young, the sport of Speedway especially is a great sport for really young teenagers, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. When you're a young teenager to age 20, that's a really great time to get involved in the motorcycle racing. And then when you're older, let's say if you start racing when you're 25 or 30, it's different. You're not going to be at the highest level. So it's okay if you want to just have fun, you go out, enjoy the track. But if you want to be a world champion, or if you want to race at the high level, it's important that you start when you're young. The younger, the better. So anyways, that's how that works. And so yeah, I had a good mechanic. I had the best mechanic on earth, and he was really great. Jerry Fairchild, he was the president of the SRA, and he went ahead and made sure that the racers made 35% of the gate at the Costa Mesa Speedway. And he sponsored Dangerous Dub Farrell. He sponsored Ernie Rocio in 1950s. He sponsored them. And he actually was working on this famous rider. He was an early day rider of Speedway called Wilbur Lamarocks or Lammy Lamarock. And Jerry Fairchild, he went ahead and pit for him. He had tuned for him. And I think he worked on the Milne brothers because they were best friends. So he might have worked on Jack and Cordy Milne's motorcycle. So my mechanic was famous. My mechanic knew everything. And he was actually worked on diesel engines on cars. And he worked on Mercedes-Benz cars. And Mercedes would they would text my mechanic and they would say could you come to Germany and could you fix the fuel injection of the Mercedes Benz? And my mechanic Jerry said, no, I don't want to do that. He lived in Pasadena, California for like 50 years, and he moved to Corona in the ranch above Ken Maley's until his passing in like 1987. And so Jerry Fairchild, he was getting old and he didn't want to fly to Germany no more. He fixed these cars, these Mercedes Benz. He specialized in the fuel injection. And let's see. Sonny just said, I saw you race and passing the guys. I got named the Bumblebee because I was a good passer when I was a teenager. I'm a good passer now, actually. I mean, yesterday I raced this guy going to Kalibu yesterday on my street bike, and I was racing him, and then I was passing him. I love to pass. And then I'm passing. This was yesterday on my street motorcycle. And this guy, he was a Filipino guy. I was trying to pass him. He's slower. And then I would go to the right. I would try to pass him, and then he would block me. And then, hi, Jonathan. Nice to see you. Welcome. Thank you so much for welcoming me to the family on Facebook. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I hope you enjoyed the show. We look forward to meeting you, everybody over there at the famous family. And so I'm riding my motorcycle yesterday. Thank you, Jonathan. And then I'm going to pass this guy on my street bike. I have a Bumblebee bike. And when I'm going to the right, passing him, he's blocking me. And then he wouldn't let me pass him. He's going to crash me. So I go ahead and move over to the left to pass him. And then this was yesterday on the street. And then he moves over to the left and he's blocking me. I'm like, this is not good, you know. This guy did not like me to pass him. And I tried a few more times to pass this guy. And he was blocking me. Like he see me in his rearview mirror and then he's blocking me. I got kind of ticked off. So finally, I thank you, dear. And then finally I passed the guy. And then I went ahead and did a speedway move. Like I moved over the guy and I start like, I'm going to crash you, dude. And then he did this to me. I'm going to crash you too. So we're fighting on the street yesterday. But that guy was not going to deny me. And I'm a really good passer. That's one of my specialties, actually, is passing guys. And that guy would not let me pass him without crashing, of course. But I passed him. I'm like, dude, you're not going to stop me. And I passed that guy on the street. So that was crazy. And I leaned into the guy like, dude, if you want to fight me, I'll fight you on the motorcycle. And then he leaned into me. Okay, dude, I will fight you. So we had fun. And so you watched me winning. The fans yelled, Bumblebee, Bumblebee. Yeah, you know, some of the people really liked the Bumblebee. I don't know why, but it was good. And I had a lot of fans, you know, when I raced motorcycles. And when I went back and raced a few years ago, the whole stadium was full, maybe not for me, but I had lots of people and I brought lots of friends to the Speedway. And when we race Speedway again, hopefully I'll get out to the Costa Mesa. I don't know if I'm going to win, you know, like it's been a long time. So, but I just maybe need a little practice, you know, and stuff. Last time I raced Speedway, I had no practice and it was like 5 years being off the bike. And I had my family like telling me like, you're going to hurt yourself and stuff. So I kind of like was not mentally prepared, you know, but I ended up second place that night out of 20. So that was really good because I didn't practice for like 5 years. And I borrowed a rider named Stu Agley's bike. I never rode that bike in my life before. And I hadn't practiced in 5 years. And I haven't touched a motorcycle, a Speedway bike in 5 years. So I finished the night in second place in the main event. So I think that was really good because I was so out of shape. And then it had been 5 years and I never practiced or nothing, you know. But I exercised a lot before I raced and stuff. And it was good. You know, it was good to be racing after a few years. But I got second place in the main event. And I think I would have won that main event, but I didn't change my gearing on my bike. My bike was a little slow. I was lazy and I forgot to change the gearing. Oh, and so anyways, so we settled for second place in the main event at Costa Mesa. That was back a few years ago. My family was being like, they're like, oh, you can never race. You hadn't practiced, and they're giving me like lots of stuff, and it wasn't good. Like when you race, you have to like really be ready for racing, and when your family's like saying you're gonna kill yourself, you can't think this way when you ride motorcycles. So you have to really be focused on racing motorcycles and not, you have to keep the happy thoughts, keep the happy thoughts and get all the negative thoughts out of your mind when you're racing, especially. So, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. And I always say, like, I don't care and stuff like that. But when I get on the racetrack, it's like business, like I hate to lose, like when I'm losing. I started my first race when I raced last time, and I had a horrible crash. When I retired, I had a guy crashed me, some jerk crashed me, and he broke my collarbone. I have a collarbone right here, and I have a bump here still. I have a bump, and I broke all my ribs in this crash. This guy I won all year. I actually had a really great year. I won like lots of championships in my class. And then the guy was mad because, I had a good year. And so he went ahead and he didn't turn. When it was a turn, he went straight and he ran me over. He crashed me on purpose, and it really hurt me bad. I was knocked out for the night. I was actually knocked out for several minutes. I was like passed out. I broke all my ribs. I broke my collarbone, and I was like really wiped out. And I was done for the night. I wanted to win that main event. It was the last race of the year, the very last race. I hadn't crashed all year. I had not one crash. And then this guy, he purposely crashes me. And so that's how that season ended. And then I had that on my mind. I said, you don't want to retire on a crash, a horrible crash. I was messed up for like a month. I mean, I couldn't sleep in my bed or anything. And so I went ahead and I just thought, that's not a good way to retire, is like a horrible crash. This is the worst crash of my life. And then, so the first race, I came back. I was in second. I was actually in last place at the beginning of the race, and I'm sitting there in last place. And I see there's 5 guys in the race, and I see 4 guys in front of me, and then I just said, you know what? I don't want to end up in last place. Like I'm not happy, in last place. So I just start passing guys. I got mad. I'm like, yeah, and then I ended up in second place that heat race. So I went from 5th place to second place in only a minute. And I was mad, I ended up, like I say, in second place. And then in the semi-main event, the second race, I went ahead and won the semi-main event. And that was really great. And so I was going into the main. I forgot to change the gearing, and I ended up in second place in the main. So there's 20 guys, and I ended up in second. So that was a good night for me. So yeah, that was second place in the main event was okay. I'll take that. But if I had changed my gearing, I think I would have won that race, because I couldn't pass the guy because we have this gearing that you have to change, and I was lazy, and I did that. So anyway, thank you so much. We got Bebop here, hungry, and we're gonna go ahead and feed the bird. So thank you so much for joining the live stream. We're just shooting the bull today. And thank you so much, everyone, for visiting us in the Hive. Really appreciate that. Jonathan, Nema, Tata, Sunny. Appreciate you guys visiting us in the Hive. We had Brian and Scott earlier. So that was really cool. Thank you so much for the live chat. And we're going to do a show maybe tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. And we have more shows coming up. So thank you so much for joining us. Ride safe. Stay on two wheels. Thank you, the Facebook group, you guys, the family over there. We really appreciate you guys joining us. And everyone else out there, we really appreciate you subscribing, joining the channel, and we're going to have some fun. So thank you so much. Ride safe, and we're going to see you next race. Take care. Have a good one. Thanks for visiting us in the Beehive.